What if I told you that the nice jagged piece of purple amethyst acting as a paperweight on your desk right now isn't just, catching the light from the window?
Right.
But according to this ancient global belief system, it is actively recording your deepest anxieties.
Yeah, I mean, it completely changes how you look at the decor in your office, doesn't it?
It really does.
Because when we just view these stones as pretty objects, we are missing an entirely different, incredibly complex way of interpreting the world.
Exactly. So for a massive community of pagan practitioners, that rock on the shelf is doing a lot more than just looking pretty. Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Glad to be here.
Today, we are immersing ourselves in some incredibly revealing source material. It's excerpts from a book called Crystals and the Divine, a guide to pagan spiritualism.
It's a fascinating read.
It really is. And whether you are a hardened skeptic, a dedicated spiritual seeker, or just incredibly curious about how alternative belief systems actually operate under the hood, this is going to be a major eye-opener for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we aren't just skimming the surface here. We are going to decode exactly how practitioners use these stones.
Yeah, it's not just random aesthetics.
Yep. It is a highly structured, ancient system of energy management. Okay, let's unpack this.
So, to really understand that system, we have to start by looking backward. The text points out right away that crystal healing and magic isn't some modern New Age invention that just, popped up in the 1970s.
When disco or something.
Exactly. This is an enduring ancient practice. We are talking about the ancient Egyptians, the Greeks, the Romans.
Wow, that far back?
Oh, yeah. The source material details how these civilizations integrated crystals into their daily lives and healing rituals. And the goal was to promote physical, mental, and spiritual well-being.
So it wasn't just fashion?
No, not at all. They weren't just wearing them as jewelry. They were using them as functional tools for survival and connection to the divine.
Which immediately begs the question, why? I mean, why did an ancient Roman or an Egyptian look at a shiny rock and think, this is going to heal my mind, or this is going to connect me to the gods?
Right. It seems counterintuitive to us today.
Yeah. And the foundational premise of this source text, the absolute core mechanism that makes all of this work for modern practitioners too, is the belief that crystals are not just inert, dead rocks.
Yes, that's key.
The text says they are viewed as living entities.
That is the crucial paradigm shift you have to make to understand this text. In this belief system, crystals have the capacity to absorb, store, and transmit energy.
So they're active.
Very active. They aren't passive objects sitting in a room. They are active participants in the environment. They're constantly interacting with the unseen energetic currents around them.
I kept thinking of an analogy while reading this. For you listening right now, it might help to think of a crystal like a spiritual USB drive.
Oh, I like that.
Or maybe a rechargeable battery. It's a tool designed to store specific data, in this case, energetic data, or human intention, and then transfer it when plugged into the right system, like a ritual or a deep meditation session.
That's a highly functional way to frame it. And it explains why this practice is so enduring.
Right.
Because having a physical object like a crystal gives practitioners a tangible anchor for their intangible intentions.
A tangible anchor. That makes sense.
If you look at it from a purely psychological standpoint, which the text hints at when discussing intention, crystal magic acts as a highly structured framework for externalizing internal goals.
So getting it out of your head and into the real world.
Exactly.
Right.
If you are trying to manifest healing or just focus your chaotic mind, holding a physical weighty battery that you believe is storing your intention makes the cognitive and behavioral process much more concrete.
It bridges the gap.
Right. It bridges the gap between the mind and the physical world.
But, and I think this is really important, the text is also very careful to contextualize how this healing works in practice. It's strictly holistic.
Extremely holistic.
Yeah, crystal healing isn't done in a vacuum. You don't just put a rock on your forehead, lay on the couch, and call it a day.
No, definitely not.
It is combined with other demanding modalities. We are talking about deep meditation, intense visualization, breath work, and aromatherapy.
It's about creating an entire ecosystem of balance and harmony within the body and the environment.
Yes, and we absolutely need to highlight a crucial caveat the author makes explicitly clear regarding that healing.
We really do.
The text stresses that crystal healing is a complementary practice. It states outright that this should not be used as a substitute for professional medical treatment.
Right. If someone is experiencing physical illness or severe emotional distress, The source material explicitly advises seeking professional medical advice.
So see a doctor.
Exactly. The crystals are there to support the energetic and spiritual side of the individual, not to replace a doctor or a therapist.
Right. It's about spiritual well-being, not setting a broken bone or curing an infection.
Right.
Now, if we carry on with this battery analogy, if a crystal is constantly absorbing energy from its environment and from the practitioner, logic dictates that eventually the battery gets full.
It does.
Or worse, it picks up corrupted files, like negative energy from a wildly stressful day at work. So how do pagans manage this energetic buildup?
Well, that brings us to the absolute necessity of maintenance. The text is very clear that before you do any spiritual work, you have to cleanse your crystals.
Cleanse them.
Yes. If you don't clear those negative or stagnant energies, the crystal simply won't function properly. It will be projecting static instead of a clear signal.
So how do you clear the static?
The source outlines a few specific methods for this. You might submerge the crystal in a bowl of salt water. You might smudge it with the smoke of burning sage or incense. Or, and this is a very prominent method in the text, you bury the crystal in the earth overnight.
Okay, hold on. I have to push back on that last one.
Okay, go for it.
Because this completely tripped me up when I was reading the notes. If a crystal literally comes from the dirt in the first place, why does burying it in the dirt cleanse it of negative energy?
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, I mean, if I drop my USB drive in the mud, it's ruined. How does putting a rock back in the ground act as a cleaning mechanism?
It's a fair question, but we have to step away from the tech analogies for a second and look at how nature itself operates in paganism.
Okay, I'm listening.
Think of the earth not as dirt or grime, but rather like a massive composting system, or even a controlled forest fire.
Oh, interesting. A controlled burn.
Precisely. In nature, a controlled burn clears out the dead brush and the decaying matter so that new life can grow.
Okay.
And composting takes rotting, discarded material and neutralizes it, turning it back into fertile baseline soil.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so burying a crystal operates on that exact same logic. You are allowing the massive stabilizing energy of the planet to absorb that built-up chaotic or negative energy.
So the earth neutralizes it.
Yes. It's an organic grounding reset that brings the crystal back to its natural neutral baseline.
Ah, okay. That makes so much more sense. It's returning it to the source to let nature digest the bad energy.
Exactly. You are wiping the slate clean. But the text notes that cleansing is only half the maintenance process.
There's more.
Oh yeah. Once the crystal is wiped clean, it's basically an empty vessel. It has a baseline resonance, but it lacks specific direction.
Like a blank hard drive?
Right. It then has to be charged. The practitioner has to intentionally fill that empty crystal with their own energy, their focus, and their specific intentions before it can be used in any kind of ritual.
So the crystal is wiped clean by the earth or the salt water, it's charged up with your personal intention, and it's ready to go.
Ready for use.
But how do you know which crystal to pick up in the first place? Because there are literally thousands of different types of stones out there.
It can definitely seem overwhelming.
Yeah. Here's where it gets really interesting. The source text reveals that pagan crystal usage relies on a highly rigorous, almost spreadsheet-like categorization system.
It is incredibly structured. It's not just grabbing whatever looks shiny today.
Not at all.
It's a vast system built entirely on correspondences.
Yeah.
The underlying philosophy is that everything in the universe, the elements, directions, seasons, emotions, it's all interconnected.
And the stones fit into that.
Yes, specific crystals serve as the physical, tangible representatives of those connections.
Let's walk through this matrix because it really shows the architecture of the belief system, and I want to understand the why behind these choices.
Okay, let's do it.
According to the text, if you are working with the element of earth, which is associated with the north direction and the season of spring, you would use stones like jasper, obsidian, or hematite. But why those specific stones?
It comes down to their physical properties and how those mirror the metaphysical properties of the element. Take obsidian, for example. It's volcanic glass. It is literally born from the intense heat and pressure of the Earth's core, rapidly cooled into something dense and heavy.
Very heavy.
Right. So when a practitioner holds obsidian, they are holding the literal weight and grounding force of the planet. It physically feels like Earth. So it energetically aligns with Earth.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, then if you shift to the element of air, which corresponds to the east and the season of summer, the text lists quartz, selenite, and amethyst. And I'm guessing this is because these stones are often translucent or clear.
Yes, exactly. They allow light to pass through them. They feel lighter, more clarifying, less dense.
Like actual air.
Just as air clears the fog, these stones are believed to clear the mind and facilitate higher communication and intellect.
Got it. Then we have the element of fire, which is south autumn. For this, practitioners use ruby, garnet, and citrine. I assume because they visually capture the essence of a flame.
Visually and energetically. They are the colors of embers, sparks in the sun. They are associated with heat, passion, aggressive transformation, and action. So if you need a spark of motivation, you reach for the stones that embody fire.
And finally, the element of water, associated with the west and the season of winter. This calls for fluid, emotive stones like aquamarine, moonstone, and turquoise.
Right. Think about how a moonstone captures the light. It looks like the shimmering surface of a pond or the reflection of the moon on the ocean.
It really does.
And water in paganism is tied to intuition, deep emotion, and the subconscious.
Okay, I'm following.
What's fascinating here is how elegant and practical this system is. By memorizing these correspondences, a practitioner isn't just holding a pretty piece of quartz.
They're holding a lot more.
They're holding the element of air, the energy of the east, and the vitality of summer. This matrix allows practitioners to hold a representation of the entire natural universe right in the palm of their hand.
Wow.
It's the macrocosm, the massive, overwhelming forces of nature, represented safely in the microcosm of a single stone.
That is a brilliant way to look at it. You literally have the entire universe cataloged and accessible on your altar.
Exactly.
So if you're listening to this on your commute right now, think about what energy you feel you're lacking in your day. According to this text, you wouldn't just grab any stone to feel better. You'd need to diagnose your own energetic gaps first and then select the corresponding tool.
Precisely. It demands self-awareness before action.
So with this elemental framework understood, let's move from the theory to the application. How are these categorized stones actually utilized to communicate with the divine?
Well, the text talks quite a bit about connecting with pagan gods and goddesses.
It does.
In paganism, deities often have specific domains. Love, war, wisdom, nature, the underworld.
Right, they specialize.
Yeah. The text explains that to connect with a specific deity, you must choose a crystal that resonates with their unique domain and energy.
The analogy that came to mind here is tuning an old school radio dial.
Oh, I like that.
Like, if you want to listen to a jazz station, you can't tune into the heavy metal frequency and expect to hear saxophones.
No, you definitely won't.
So if a practitioner wants to connect with, say, a goddess of love, the text specifically mentions using rose quartz. You have to tune your spiritual receiver to the rose quartz frequency to pick up that specific divine broadcast.
I really like that analogy. And once you've tuned that dial, the crystal is used to focus your energy to open a portal, so to speak.
An energetic portal.
Right. It creates a sacred, dedicated space for communication. You hold the crystal, visualize the connection, and ask for guidance.
But it's not always just about specific gods, right?
No. Communication in this belief system isn't just about talking to specific named deities.
Mm-hmm.
It's also about accessing raw information from the spiritual realm more broadly. And this brings us to divination.
Right, getting a glimpse into the unseen. The text highlights a couple of specific applications here.
It does.
It mentions using clear quartz for scrying, which is the practice of gazing deeply into a reflective surface or a clear stone to receive visions, symbols, or intuitive messages.
Like a crystal ball.
Exactly. And it mentions using amethyst for dream divination. The practitioner might place it under their pillow while they sleep to receive guidance through their subconscious.
Divination is a huge part of the practice. But the source material includes a very important philosophical warning that we absolutely need to highlight here.
Okay, what is it?
It explicitly states that when receiving these messages or looking into the future is not set in stone.
Pun intended by the author, I assume.
I would assume so.
Oh.
But the implication is deadly serious for practitioners.
How so?
It means divination messages must be interpreted with extreme caution and nuance. A crystal might show a potential path or an underlying energy that is building, but it does not override free will or the inherent unpredictability of human life.
Right.
The crystal provides insight, not an absolute unavoidable guarantee.
It's a weather forecast, not a train schedule.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
You might see a massive rainstorm coming on the radar, but you still have the free will to decide if you want to carry an umbrella, stay indoors, or go dance in the rain.
That is a perfect way to put it. The power remains with the individual, not the stone.
Okay, so if divination tells you what the weather is going to be, then spell work is what you actively do about it. So what does this all mean for practical, everyday magic?
Well, the text goes beyond just listening or divining. Pagan practitioners use crystals to actively manifest change and protect themselves in the physical world.
Active, directed magic.
Exactly. One of the primary uses outlined in the text is creating protective barriers.
Barriers against what?
Negative energy. A practitioner might place specific grounding crystals, like that obsidian we talked about earlier, around the physical perimeter of their ritual space.
Oh, like a fence?
Right. Or they might place them directly on their body during meditation to balance their chakras and keep negative, unwanted energy out.
Wait, let me interrupt you right there. Balancing chakras. I always thought the concept of chakras, the energy centers in the body, stemmed primarily from ancient Indian, Hindu, or Buddhist traditions. How did an Eastern concept end up in a text about general pagan spiritualism? Does the author explain that?
That is a very sharp catch. The text doesn't claim pagans invented chakras,
Okay.
but it does reveal how highly syncretic modern paganism is. Contemporary practitioners often borrow and integrate energetic maps from other global cultures if they find them effective.
So they mix and match.
Yeah. The source material portrays crystal magic as adaptable. Practitioners use the Eastern chakra system as a map of the human body and then apply their pagan crystal correspondences to that map to clear blockages.
It's an overlapping of spiritual technologies.
That's a great phrase for it.
Fascinating. So they are cross-pollinating these ancient systems. And the text also talks about creating sacred grids and altars for this spell work.
Yeah, grids are very important.
This isn't just putting one stone on a table. It's about arranging multiple crystals in specific geometric patterns. But how does putting stones in a circle or a triangle actually amplify anything? Does the text explain the physics or the metaphysics of that?
It does. It comes down to sacred geometry. The text posits that geometric shapes naturally direct the flow of energy.
Okay.
Think of a magnifying glass, focusing the rays of the sun into a single, intense point of heat.
Right.
By placing a central generator crystal in the middle and surrounding it with supporting stones in a specific pattern, like a six-pointed star or a spiral, the practitioner is creating a lens.
The lens for energy.
They're taking the battery power of individual stones and linking them together to create a much stronger directed current of intention.
So it's literally building an energetic circuit board.
Yes, and that amplification doesn't just stay in the ritual space on the altar.
It goes with them.
Exactly. The text details how crystals are used to infuse everyday physical items. Practitioners create crystal elixirs or potions. Yeah, essentially placing a safe, cleansed crystal into water to charge the liquid with specific intentions before drinking it or anointing objects with it. They also create charms, amulets, and talismans.
So if you create an amulet for protection using one of those fire stones, you are taking that massive protective barrier we talked about and shrinking it down.
Right.
So you can wear it around your neck while you go to the grocery store or head into a stressful meeting.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, ultimately, all of these practices, the elemental matrix, the cleansing, the grids, the elixirs, they are fundamentally about empowering the individual.
It's all about personal agency.
Pagan spiritualism places a heavy emphasis on personal agency. The crystals are tools that help draw connections between the practitioner's inner, deeply personal wisdom and the massive natural forces around them.
The macrocosm.
Exactly. The text specifically mentions connecting with the energies of the earth, the moon, and the sun. By aligning a small physical stone with these massive celestial bodies, the practitioner is constantly reminding themselves of their own connection to the wider universe.
Making it manageable.
Right. They're taking massive cosmic energy and making it intimate, manageable, and usable in their daily life.
It really reframes the whole concept of what a stone is.
It really does.
We started this deep dive looking at a piece of amethyst acting as a mundane paperweight on a desk.
Just catching the light.
Right. But through the lens of this text, we can see that for pagan practitioners, that crystal is an active node in a massive energetic web.
A vital tool.
Whether it's being used for ancient scrying, modern syncretic chakra balancing, setting up a geometric protective grid, or tuning the dial to honor a goddess, crystals serve as powerful, tangible focal points for human intention. They aren't just rocks. They are tools to manage the unseen currents of life.
This raises an important question, something that really lingers when you think about the core mechanics the text describes.
What's that?
The source material heavily emphasizes that crystals act as energetic sponges. They're constantly absorbing, storing, and transmitting the ambient energy of their environment.
Right, the metaphysical battery that's always recording.
Exactly. So, building on the internal logic of this belief system,
Okay.
if natural objects are constantly recording the energetic data of a room, what kind of unseen ambient energy might the everyday modern objects surrounding you right now be absorbing?
Oh, wow.
Think about the things you carry every single day. Your smartphone, your metal keys, the jewelry you never take off.
Constantly holding them.
If a piece of quartz can absorb the lingering stress of a bad day at the office, what is your phone? An object you hold tightly during moments of intense stress, doom scrolling, joy, anxiety, and grief. What is it absorbing?
That's a wild thought.
And more importantly, according to the logic of pagan spiritualism, what kind of energy is that phone transmitting back into your daily life without you even realizing it?
Wow. That is definitely going to make me look at my phone very differently the next time I pick it up. Maybe we all need to start burying our electronics in the dirt overnight.
Yeah, just make sure it's a dry patch of earth.
Good call. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into crystals and the divine. We've gone from the healing rituals of ancient Rome to the intricate seasonal grids of modern pagan magic, and hopefully giving you a whole new perspective on the invisible, energetic potential of the world around us. Keep questioning everything, keep exploring those hidden frameworks, and we'll catch you next time.